Hi, in this video I will show you how to put together the Snowman explosion box from Simply Crafty SVGs. And here's another look at it. So you can see as you pull the top off that we have a couple layers and a little gift box, as well as a couple places for a gift card and a tag and some personal sentiments. So I'm trying something a little bit different, so my background's a little bit different. It's just my plain old table. The reason is that this is a large item, and I normally have a cutting mat here, but it really isn't necessary in it, and it'll be easier to see these dark pieces that I have to fold. So this is for the Snowman explosion box. So this is not the full size. I believe this is 80% the size, and the explosion box goes like this, and then it falls. So this is 80%. So it's sized so you can fit this size you can't fit a gift card. So it has some optional sleeves, different panels, that kind of thing. So if you're looking for a fun Christmas explosion box, and of course this is smaller because it's 80% of full size, but we're going to make it full size. So that's that. And you'll notice that I don't have panels on the outside, but these are embossed. So if you can see that, they're slightly raised. I'm going to show you how I did that right now with an embossing folder. So these have no extra panels. You could cut them if you wanted. They're just 3.8 by 3.8. This is the size. So if you wanted to cut a different panel, or you could also use the slightly inset panels for the inside, if that's what you want to do, rather than do what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to emboss with my Kettlebug, but before I do that I want to show you some pieces. So we'll put them all aside and then we'll work on that big piece to emboss it. So this is already one of the sleeves and the tag that goes in, and we'll talk about that later. And then we'll show you how to put together the sleeves, really simple. Then we have these are inside panels for this piece right here. You can see I already put the little snowflakes on there. It's kind of hard to see because it's glittery. So some of this I kind of had to prep because this would be a very long video to just watch me put things on. Here's two more for the larger inside piece, which we're going to do shortly. And these are the large panels that go inside. You'll see there's 3 of the same size, 1 for the middle, 2 for the sides, with as I built it at least, for the sleeves. And then 2 of these to put the snowflake on 2 of the panels. I'm going to put those to the right here because we're going to be using those. And here's a large piece we're going to emboss, so you can see I already did one side. So we'll put that, you can kind of see the embossing machine. I'm going to put that right on there. And the Kettlebug, I should say. These are the pieces for the little gift box. That's optional. That comes in the center. And then we have the face panels, and I have them situated the way they go. Put those over there. And then we have this front panel, and that one we'll want to emboss. So that we want the large box in that piece. And that's the head piece, and then the lid. And then all the pieces for the hat. And then we do have one little piece we need for behind here. So it's this size. It'll go behind there. So you want to pull that out. Make sure we got everything. So if you use something like a Kettlebug or something like that, I'm really close here. The way I did this, so I'm only going to do 3 sides. Let's make sure that it's... So they no longer sell this machine, but they have things like textured impressions that you probably heard of. So let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit. So the easiest piece to emboss is this one. So if you're not familiar with embossing folders, you just put it in the folder. And I'm putting the texture side up with the words. I'm going to sandwich it in based on whatever machine you're using. A lot of people use Big Shots too. They're all basically the same. They go through, add some pressure to create the embossing. So I'm just going to let it go through. And then we have, you can see it. I know it's kind of washed out, but you can see it's embossed. That's the problem of having a lighter background for the table. So the other one we want to do are the sides. So the way you basically want to do it, you don't want to do all 4. If you have that front panel, you only need to do 3 of them. So you see I already did 1. So what I do, or what I did, is just flip these 2 in on the side so it can go in. Then I'm going to put it in as far as I can up to the pattern here. And then carefully sandwich it in. And I have to fold those 2 sides in just because, so it can get through because it's too narrow. So it's going to do that. It's okay because it's close up to the bottom of the embossing folder. So now you can see that. And what's nice is that at the same time I'm kind of training these down. So with explosion boxes, you kind of want to get these a little looser than others. So let me do that last one. So again, I want to do this one, so I'm going to fold these in and just put it in close to where the raised snowflakes are. So we'll go from the other side, so don't hit that. And that basically is the way you emboss those 3 panels if you want to do it like that. Sorry about the movement here. I'm not left-handed. And that's that. So now we have 3 embossed panels. So now we have those embossed sides and then plus this front. So what we want to do, I'm using art glitter glue. I'm going to flip it over so it's actually upside down already. Make sure that I'm on the correct side. And I'm going to take the texture side, put it towards the front. So I'm just going to add glue around these holes. Lightly. And then if you wanted to, you could always do this around the edge too. And then place it carefully because we just don't want any glue showing through. So that's the front of the snowman. Then we're going to take that last embossed panel and this will fit just like this. So you want to line this up with the bottom edge. And this top edge also lines up. So either one you start with, that's how you line this up on this panel. So it should line up perfectly on the top and bottom. I'll make sure it's lined up on the top here. And I forgot about that. So just make sure you add glue to the front panel rather than to the back of this. You know, or if you do, you don't go beyond that. There we go. So next we're going to fold the sleeves. Let's just do those really quick because those will go inside afterwards. So I have these. This is meant to be interchangeable with the Snowman explosion box. So if you have the explosion box too, we have different sleeve shapes and panels. So you could always use this panel with a photo or put this on there. That's optional to put that on top of this. And just add some twine. That's what I'm planning on doing to the whole. So you don't have to use this. So if you want to write on it, you could always write on it too. So that's what this is. So we'll just add this on there, just assuming we're going to do a picture. With the explosions boxes, you can do basically anything. it's, a lot of people put photos in them for gifts of children or family photos, that kind of thing. So this is just a suggestion. I just gave you some starting point with this. I'm assuming a lot of people will add their own little thing to it. This will fit in one of the sleeves, so I'm going to add a little twine to it at the end. And then just to put this together, so that other one was put together first already. A little glitter vinyl attached to that. I'm trying to get that off. Just fold this over, and then we want to glue. It doesn't matter which one you glue first, but we want to glue it on the back. I'm just going to fold it over. And I'm going to fold it over the other way. So I think I said something earlier. Actually, we have a penguin box. I think I said snowman box. Anyways, so with this, if you're wondering, we have two explosion boxes that are similar. One is a penguin and this snowman. So here, a gift card will fit in here like that, and we're going to put a panel on there, but just so you know, that's my little pseudo gift card that I can use for sizing to make sure. So now let's go ahead and put the, you want to actually kind of fold these a little bit. We're going to put the inside panels. But this will help, if the more weight you put on the side of these things, the more they'll flip open easily. So if you have embellishments, that's always fun because it'll open up a little bit more. Or if you don't put as much, I just train these a little bit looser. I just keep unfolding them until they're a little bit looser. So that's a little trick. So we have these. So I want to put, I'm going to put these here. And then these three here. Of course, everything's optional. You don't have to use that middle one if you don't want. And again, you could make a copy of these if you wanted to put something on the outside, on the sides of the snowman rather than embossing it. So that's your option. So there's lots of options with explosion boxes. So the other thing is, when you put these on, this goes in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and put these all on. I'm not going to show you the pain of putting these on because this is vinyl. This is actually Cricut glitter vinyl, and it's really pretty, but I didn't have really good transfer tape to hold it. So it's not fun to watch me put on. I kind of have to freeform it. I've tried painter's tape too, but I just didn't want to go and purchase another transfer tape. I have a huge roll just for this. So maybe in the future, but not for this project. So here's the inside panels done, and I added the little snowflakes and little gems in the middle. So that'll help with it falling down too. So when you open it, that kind of thing. So now we'll do the middle one. So if you didn't want to do the middle one, you wouldn't have to. So this is all optional at this point. So this would be enough just to make a basic one, and we would go ahead and add these on. I didn't add those on. Let's just do that really quick. So you don't need to use these. So all this is optional. You use one with a gift card, and you want to go down. If you do have a gift card, you want to know that you want to go towards the bottom here. So I'll show you just so you have a visual. So you can see like that. So you could go a little bit further up. And if you ever wanted to just test it, just get a credit card, debit card, that kind of thing. If you don't have a gift card, they're all the same shape and size, wallet size. And then this one, same thing on the other side. So it'd be fun to have and you can put it down at the same time. It'd be fun to have little photos. You could put multiples of these if you wanted to in there with different photos, or you could put sentiments in there, omit this, put a personal saying, that kind of thing. Giving you some ideas. I always find explosion boxes hard to do and give away because there's so many options that you can do. So I'm going to just put that aside so it doesn't get bent. And we're going to just put that over here. Trying to get it out of the way. So now we have this piece. So you just want to add the snowflakes, and the snowflakes will match perfectly to the edge, but as I noted earlier, these were hard to put on, and I didn't do the best because they were Cricut vinyl. So in hindsight, I probably would have just used cardstock, which it cuts fine. I cut that just to make sure. The way this goes in is we have this optional middle one, and then these just go around like this. So there's a little edge, so you just want to make sure you put a little edge around the whole thing and put it there. So as you can see, we have them all in place and they're equidistant from each other. And one thing is just make sure you have it the correct way, else it'll fit both ways. But I have the texture side up because I use textured cardstock. So the other optional, because everything's optional, as I keep on saying, is a little gift box in the middle. So that's fun because you can just put a little, we'll put it in the middle of this. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this. Just kind of move that up here. So this is just a basic box with a lid to put some candy or something like that for a gift. So we'll go ahead and just fold that over. I'm just going to glue that other edge to the tab so you can see it just folds right over flat. And then we just fold these sides in. Make sure that's good and dry before you do that, else you'll pull it apart like I started to do. For the sake of time, I tend to go a little bit faster than I would if I were not filming it. Oops. Okay, so one thing I want to say, you can glue it on the inside or you glue it on the outside. If we're gonna, I just realized that I would probably recommend that you glue it inside. And the reason I'm saying that is because we're gonna, if you don't have it come out and you glue it on the inside, then you're not gonna see these tabs. So it makes the box stronger. So let's go ahead and glue them on the outside. So my little faux pas, yeah, it won't be seen because it's on the outside. and it'll be glued to the bottom. Well, it helps if I glue it on the right side, huh? Let's try that again. It's indicative that I need to probably eat something because my head's kind of swimming. So probably after this I'll take a little break. So I just use this little wooden chopstick, free from my little Panda Express area that I go to, restaurant. Unfortunately, it's the best Chinese in town for us. And then the lid is just to fold all these sides down, and then we're going to just glue these in these side tabs here on the inside of the lid. So yeah, when I do my videos, I'm not, it's just me at this point. So, you get me as I am, so I'll tell you things that maybe you didn't want to know. Like I need to eat something because I'm not working off a lot of energy right now. So I always would suggest, if you are doing a project like this, I just wanted to get started early. Where I am, it's before 8 a.m. So once we get these all glued on the inside, so we're just matching up these edges. So this edge is right here to the tab fold. Then that will finish the little box. Be careful to get glue on the outside. And I had this little damp cloth that I was using. Well, I already wiped off glue twice, so I'm going to have to get a new one. Make sure I don't get glue on the project anywhere else. And it's on my fingers too, so make sure I use it to wipe my fingers off. So then that just goes on there. So if you could do like little Christmas candies in there, something like that. I'm going to add a little, just like these, add a little gemstone on top. I just don't want to put it on until I was done because it's hard to work with when you have something bulky. So let me show you how those two go together, and then we'll go ahead and work on the lid, the head and the lid and all that fun, the rest of it. So this goes sideways. You could put it like this if you wanted. That's up to you. But that's why I said this is optional. You can go sideways, and if you go sideways like this, which I'm going to show you, we need to make sure that it still folds. So you kind of have to see where that fold is here and where the fold is on all sides, and make sure that these corners don't go beyond them. Okay, so that's something you need to pay attention to. And I'm just going to put glue a little bit inside so I have a little wiggle room so it's not right near the edges. I'm going to start right down here. I'm kind of watching the bottom here and the left. I'm just going to set it in there for now just to make sure, and it does. So make sure that it's in the place you want to, and it folds up. All the ones beyond it fold in. You can see. So it's not hindering the fold at all, and the front either. And then we'll go ahead and add this. So this doesn't go sideways, that just goes in like this. And I'm just going to attach it to it, but some people might want it to come out. So if you want it to come out, you might want to glue those bottom tabs on the inside if you don't want to see them. And it's easier for me to hold the pressure down with the lid. So this is the actual explosion box part. So now we're just going to do the head that goes on the lid, and the hat and all the fun, the actual snowman head. So this is the headpiece, and if you are working on the penguin, this is the same way. So the only difference is it's black. So this will be the top of the head, and then the bottom. So we'll go ahead and we'll do the short side first. So make sure you fold all the tabs, and then we'll do this side. We're going to add glue to these tabs, and just add them to both of these. And we want to start at this piece, and then we'll line up so we're lining that edge up right here, and then applying pressure on the inside, and then folding this. So make sure you pre-fold this, fold it in, and then line up this edge to the tab fold just like that. So we're going to do that on both sides and on the other side as well. So you just want to make sure it's good and dry before you move on, and you can always do this too. It's the nice part about it before it's closed. So you could do this side. It doesn't really matter which order you go in. It's just a matter of how it will be to reach in. So let's do this one right here. Fortunately, if it's large enough, it's just if you size it down, it might be a little hard to reach in. So I'm just running my finger around along that edge to make sure that it's lined up. I'm just going to move it around because I'm very right-handed, and so I can reach in with my right hand. And just rotate it. Make sure you don't put too much glue like I did. And just making sure I'm getting it nice and connected towards the top too, so there's a minimal gap, if any. Just make sure your glue coverage is good. And then we'll do these other two sides. So if you're not used to doing this, it can be a little bit of a challenge at first, but once you get it, it's kind of the fun thing about making 3D items. And kind of fold that in gently. And I made this a little bit simpler, so if somebody wanted to make multiple ones, they didn't have to deal with the round. So I could have made it a round head, but I selected not to because I wanted this to be a little bit more accessible to people that were newer to putting together 3D designs versus those that do it all the time. And sometimes I do make that decision. I have a couple, of course people are most familiar with the truck, vintage truck at this point. And that does take time. It's not hard, but just trying to simplify the steps so you have fun putting together and get the results you want. But I don't necessarily want to do a project to make like that every month, unfortunately. It takes a long time to prep those. So once we get all those edges glued in, just make sure they're nice and secure. We're just going to fold those in and go like this. So this goes together the same way for the Snowman box and Snowman explosion box and the Penguin explosion box. So you can see I'm kind of lining this up. Just gently rub. Because it's hollow, we can't get in there to get it set. So you may be watching this on the Snowman video or the Penguin. So just make sure you get those edges lined up and do a light rubbing around them just to make sure it doesn't pop up. So there's the head. So next we're going to work on the face. So what I'm going to do with this, and I normally wouldn't do this, I might do a little lighter, but I already started, so I'm going to come from the back. I'm going to use a little marker. So if I put this over, so this is how it's going to layer. So you're going to have this little orange piece in the back. I'm just putting it together so you kind of get the gist of it. The little round eyes, and then the open eyes right there. So as you can see, you can barely see the opening. If you see in person, you can see it, but you might want to ink it a little bit. And for this one, I'm going to try to ink it a little bit. Normally, here's the other one, so you can see the difference in the eye. See how that's noticeable, the opening? But you want to be really careful if you're going to do this. I'm going to show you what I've done. I'm going to flip it to the back side of this, and I tried to ink it. You can use ink too, but I tried to do it on the back. But I'm going to go like this through the back, watching it, and just take this marker and lightly go around the eyes with the edge of it. Just to get that dark so I can see that when it's layered. I purposely made this so it was layered rather than having items you had to put on, like pop-up eyes, to make it hopefully a little bit easier to assemble. So now, see, I have a little bit more black than I want on the right hand side. When I layer it, it'll be noticeable, the edges. So we can start from the back. So if we take that orange piece and the black piece, so I'm going to put it upside down, that black piece, and we're just going to put this orange piece right here. So we're going to go ahead and layer the face. And I didn't really get full coverage on it, but that's okay because we just don't want the glue to show through the front. A little bit leaked in. It looks like my cutter is almost ready for a new blade here. And then the next one will be like this. So the little circle first. So you want to add glue to this. Don't go all the way to the edges, because those edges go beyond the edge of this. So I probably went a little bit further. So make sure you keep these in here. So, sorry about that. Let me fix that. So you can line it up first to figure out where you need to put the glue. Normally I would show you that. So now I'm just going to line it up here. Put that out of my way. It should line up perfectly with the nose and the top and bottom. Okay, so I'm going to lightly put it there. Make sure that top and bottom line up best you can. So we're not going to see this back piece. It's going to be on the front of this. So you see how that's, so you won't see the black piece at all. You shouldn't see it at all. If you have it on correctly. Okay. So I'm just showing you because, you know, you might be curious. And then this one, add glue to this. And you can add glue all the way to the edge of this one, because this is going on the same shape. And you want to line up the mouth and the nose, and it lines up on the bottom again. So that'll line it up for you. And then we just take this and put it on, figure out which one you want the front to be. It really doesn't matter. And this, you just want to line this up with the bottom, line the top up with the top. So it does go beyond it, Like I said, if you lined it up properly, you shouldn't be able to see any of that black. So the best thing is to just add glue to this piece. I'm just going to go ahead and line that bottom piece up. Not applying pressure yet until I have that top piece lined up. Now you can go ahead and add pressure to it to get that face on. And so this doesn't dry up while we're waiting for that to dry. So you just want to make sure that dries well. And then if you wanted to at this point, you could add accents to the eyes. I added accents like this. So I think on this one I'll do a little circular. So you have to be really careful when you do it. This is a white, kind of like that. So it's up to you if you want to do this. You can always do it with the pencil first, so you can erase it if you don't like it. But this is a white Jelly Roll gel pen, and I like it. And I'm going to make sure that I can set it aside to dry a little bit. Then we can go ahead and work on the lid. So we'll work on the lid. So the lid's really simple. Just like the gift box lid, we're just going to go ahead and fold these under, fold everything, fold these tabs under, glue them to the adjacent sides, and just make sure you hold it long enough to adhere for each of the tabs, lining up that edge to the tab fold. So it's just a basic box top. Now this is the same size and method for the Penguin Explosion box too. So this will cover, if you're watching either or the Snowman or the Penguin Explosion box, you're going to see this same portion because it's the same on both boxes. The only thing I always say with lids is that you always want to make sure that that you get it all adhere, hold them long enough so those tabs glue on well on the inside. So they're not pulling apart here. So really one of the simpler parts. You can go ahead and put that aside for the next step. So now we have the hat pieces. So you'll have 4 of these, and then this bottom piece that'll go below it. So this is its own little box. So we're going to put these together. So and then we'll put this aside for a moment. So all these just fold like this. So you want to get them all pre-folded. So the way it's going to go is I folded a mountain fold there, but when you fold it that way, you want to fold it back the other way to get it trained. So that's how the hat will have an angle like that. So we'll continue doing all of them. Make sure you crease them well. So you fold it like that and then like that. So they're kind of sitting like that in a little stack, and that'll get you started. See, when I folded it back immediately in the belly fold, it didn't fold as well as if I do that and then that. So if you wanted to, you could add the panels prior to assembling this. If you're afraid that you're going to get glue on this area, you wouldn't want to do that. But here are the panels. So because they're not wraparound panels, they're just for each individual side, you can put them on before. So they'll fit perfectly. So we'll just go ahead and do that really quick, because what I did with these, I embossed it with a little swirl embossing folder, and then added a little Nuvo glitter drops, kind of spread it around to get that kind of that glittery look. So that was fun. I had to do it in advance to let it dry. So we'll go ahead and add these panels. So here's just showing you one. Again, you can do this after you put it together. Oops. Of course, I put the first one on, so it goes like this up. So you only want to add glue to I added glue too high. So add glue here. So again, you can do this afterwards. So it shouldn't go on the top part. And I wouldn't worry too much about any kind of gaps here when you put it together, especially if you're doing it flat like this. I do this because it's just easier to put together this way. So I almost did it again, but the glue too high, because you don't want to glue it to that top part before we assemble it. So I'm just lining it up to that bottom piece. Bottom fold, I should say. I'm just making sure that I didn't get any glue on that top piece. Folding back. So this is the recommended method right here. And the only reason, again, to do this first is to have the benefit of applying pressure to it. And it's kind of easier to line up when it's not in its 3D form. You just need to make sure you get it exactly in the panel area, and it's hard with black. What if you did like a blue hat? It might be easier to see where the folds are. So once we have all the panels folded, we can go ahead and start assembling them. So just take one piece. Get those out of our sight so you can see this a little bit better. And be really careful with glue, because you don't want to get it on this top black piece. You can start at the bottom or top. So I'm going to start at the top, and the reason I'll tell you why is because things are more noticeable when there's an issue on the top than it will be on the bottom. So you want to line that up, this top edge, and then this little tab fold edge, this edge to the tab fold. Get that first tab in place. Just have a little damp cloth here just in case I have a little bit of excess, and then fold this over. So this is really slightly damp, and then I'm just gluing that on the inside. And I was a little messy with my glue in there, but that's okay because we're not going to see that at all. So we'll continue gluing these tabs on to make this little miniature 3D hat. So I'm going to start at the top again. So it makes it a little bit difficult doing that, putting that on first. It's not as bendable. But there's always options. You don't have to put it on first. So I put a little bit too much glue on there. Fortunately, art glitter glue dries clear. So there's that one, so put that last one on. So you could alternate putting it starting with the bottom one. Again, if you're a little bit off, the top will be off. So, but I'll do it just to show you. And you know how to put glue on both tabs if that's causing you any issues. You can start with one tab. So we'll start. I'll show you. I'm going to line up this edge. So I'd like to give you different options. And then I can come in here and add glue. So you can do that if the other way I was doing it too, just add glue on one tab if you're having issues with that. And then line that up. So whatever works best for you. Everybody's different. So it's hard to show you one way. I mean, I can, but half of my challenge is trying to figure out how I'm going to show it to you, because I want to make sure it's as easy to everybody as possible. And then this last one. So I'm going to do that again. Get that lined up. So I'm just kind of making sure that that bottom part's lined up too. The same time, and you can flip it over a little bit on there if you don't do the top at the same time. You can do this and add pressure that way, but it's slightly angled, so you might have to do it a special way here. So I prefer just to hold it with 2 fingers, and then I can flip it over and get glue on the inside tab. Using my little fine tip applicator here, and then line it up. So most likely people that are familiar with doing these, they're going to do it much faster than I'm going to do it. I tend to do it a little bit slower, just in case this is somebody's first project doing this kind of thing. And that's what it looks like on the inside. Kind of a little bit messy because I put a little bit too much glue on that last one. I had to wipe that away. The nice part is you can choose any side you want for the front. So we're going to add this top piece first. What I would suggest is adding glue to one tab first, and I'm trying to get it as evenly spread as possible. And since it is a square, so we're gonna basically anchor this on. So I'm just lining that up to this side. Gonna reach in and make sure that edge is aligned to that tab fold. So we're just anchoring this. If you do use a little damp cloth, make sure you do like slightly damp so when it doesn't cause any ripples or anything in the paper. So there it is in front. So then we'll go ahead and add glue to these other 3 tabs. And the nice part is we don't have the bottom piece on yet. So we'll be able to reach in and apply pressure. I'm probably going to use the wooden chopstick I use for a lot of this type activity. Just making sure I get really light glue next to the edge. I'm going to fold it over. I can push down the tabs on the bottom a little bit so I can get some pressure down. Then I'm going around the edges with my fingertips. I want to get it set in place. And once you have it set in place, you can flip it over. And I'm just going to go around the edges with this little wooden chopstick. And you could use any blunt tool. You just don't want it poking in it or something like that. I mean, you wouldn't want to use a stylus, because if you use a stylus tip, then it may make an indentation like this. But you probably could use like a pen, like the blunt end of a pen too. So there's other things you can use. Just think about what you have in your stash. So once I got the top on, I'm doing the same for the bottom piece. So I'm anchoring that first one to a tab like that. The difference is we can't reach in, so you kind of want to make sure these are up just a little bit so it grabs. So we're going to add glue to these tabs like we did for the top, but we won't be able to reach in, so this will help us. We're going to be gentle about how we, just like we did for the head, just gently pull it down. And I got a little glue on the bottom so you can see I'm just gently going around, got it in place, then applying pressure on the tabs gently, just rubbing them until I feel like they're secure. So you'll have to know what that is with your own glue, but you can also do this. And then we can get this piece. So this will go like this. So figure out which one's going to be the front. So look for the best front. If you have any flaws on any side that you don't want to be seen, don't make it the front. So I think I'll make that, or that the front. So I think I'll make that the front. These are the sides, so it's oval. So the narrow side will be in the front and back. So I made it originally round like this, which you could add around if you wanted. But I felt like it went over the eyes just a little bit too much, so I just didn't make it as deep. So we're going to go ahead and place this. So there's 4 little cut lines for the corners, so that'll help you center this. So you just want to add glue, find the cut lines on these, add glue in within that area. Do not go outside of it. So there's little cut lines there, and we're within them with the glue, other than what was just on my fingertip. Let's get that off. And then we'll go ahead and use those guides to place it. So this is square, so I'm just gonna make sure that they line up close to those areas. Those cut lines, even if it's shown a little bit, nobody's gonna notice it. So once you get it in place, just lightly apply pressure. Don't push too hard, but we just want to get it nice and set. And then we'll go ahead and add it to the snowman head. So making sure that they're still, and if you wanted to, you could curl these sides a little bit. I'm going to use this tool to do it. So whatever tool, a round tool works well to do this. I just use one of my stylus tools, or you can use a dowel. A lot of people have dowels, because I know that some others in tutorials talk about using dowels. You just want to make sure that's good and dry so you don't pull it off the panel. So make sure you're on the top. So we're going to do the top. I'm going to add glue, but not all the way to the edges, to give me a little wiggle room. So this is the last challenge. So I got to make sure what's the front, what I want the front to be. You want to kind of center it so that is centered on that. So that's, you can just eyeball it from the side. Whatever looks good to you, just get it in place, and once it's in place, it looks centered on all sides. Let's go ahead and just hold it and apply pressure. And then we're almost done. We just need to place the snowman on the lid and add the tie. So we're on the home stretch. We have this done. So we'll go ahead and take the lid. And I didn't put any cheater, I call them like cheater cuts in here. I figured most people, they might want to put the head a little bit closer or further. It's up to you. Pick any side and basically center it. So if you need to go from different angles, so I'm just going to check from the front. Doesn't need to be perfect, just as long as it looks good on the front for you. Left and right, if it's a little bit more gap on one side or the other, that's up to you. Just don't put as much glue to the edge of the bottom, then you'll have more wiggle room. You just want to kind of hold that in place, rub where you glued it. Make sure you take the time to do that. Make sure it's good and attached. So I'm going to put that like this up on this edge here. Get the two pieces for this tie, and I put a little pop dot there. Only fits one way. Just make sure you have the correct way. Center it. And then once it's dry, this will just be placed in front. So you can go ahead and add a little glue across there. And just center it. So there's the top of the snowman. So one thing I forgot to show you was the printable Happy Holidays tag. There's also a blank tag in there to put your own sentiment. So the tag, as you see in the file, is white on the background. It's a white tag with black. So you can use print and cut. We have a couple print and cut tutorials for Silhouette and Cricut on our YouTube channel, I should say. You can go ahead and change the colors or add your own sentiment, or Again, you can put another one with the person's name that you're giving it to, something like that. So to close it all up, we have the top here. Then we go ahead and just going to carefully get these pulled up. So pull them up like this. I'm kind of holding it. What's nice is that this front panel is larger than these, so it can kind of help to hold it in place as you put the lid on. So now we'll show you how to explode it, or make it explode. So you're going to go ahead and just lift off the lid, and you can do it if the head should be nice and attached well. And then you'll do that, and then everything will come open. You have a little gift box in there. So it's just kind of a fun little project, special project for Christmas, or I guess this could be a winter one too. If you did like this project, please give me a little like or a thumbs up, and or subscribe to our channel. And if you hit that little notification bell to the right, you'll be notified when there are new videos, whether it be tutorials or new projects like this. I thank you for watching, and have a great day.